Welcome to Across the Desk and our new series in partnership with Maddy Dever, the Autistic Rambler. Maddy is a non-binary autistic advocate engaged in political advocacy, a parent of 5, and a very funny person. I think we're going to have a lot to talk about, and we look forward to you joining the conversation. Now let's get to rambling. All right. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Across the Desk. My name is Elizabeth Plouffe, and I am the hostess of Across the Desk. Or host, I don't care.
Hostess with the mostess.
That makes me sound like one of those little cupcakes in a packet.
Oh well.
I'm a.
Yes, but you ploof up the package.
Oh, really?
Yeah, well.
Yeah. So providing the puns this morning, an uncaffeinated Maddy Dever joins us all the way from way out in the Ottawa area, East Carleton Place.
Yeah, just outside the valley.
Oh, don't try.
Yeah.
We talked about this.
Oh, okay. I'm an accent waiting to happen today.
You are an accent. So we've come to an agreement that because of my heritage, which my parents were from Newcastle, which is the north of England, Maddy has agreed not to do the English accent because he killed it and not in a good way.
Well, as they say, British accents are either amazing or awful.
Yes.
Or they're somewhere in between.
Yeah. It's funny because when I go back to England, which has been a while, very easy to slip into it. I mean, I was raised with it. That's what my parents, their accent was and what have you. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it depends on the day here. So I will say YIMN, which is it's a Geordie. My parents were Geordies. So, but accents, to ease into today's topic, are a form of being creative, which is what we're going to kind of jump into today. And I have had the good fortune to be involved with the Autism Job Club for the last few years, and we just took it over in January. And through that, Marilyn Ellis was a phenomenal advocate for putting together these great conferences that we did. So we did, it's a neurodiverse universe, frame of mind, and what was the last one? Higher. And then the pandemic hit and we were kind of like, okay. But within that space, Paulette Goddard, my business partner, is an artist, an actual artist. She does mixed media. She does watercolor. She does not do impressions or voices, but she has many other talents. And we put together an autistic artists marketplace and had the privilege of meeting some really intensely creative and incredibly crafty individuals. And actually, well, if you could see video, which one day I will convince Maddy that video is okay. Today might be the day, only because in behind me are 2 autistic artists. If you get a chance, I might take a still shot or something, and maybe Maddy will let me do that. The 2 birds that you might be able to see are done actually by an Irish artist that I met through Facebook, Sarah Doherty, and she has peculiar badger art, and her stuff is unbelievable. My understanding is she's self-taught. It's all digital, and the collaboration process was cool. We'll jump into that, and then Maddy's going to open his dulcet tones and share with us. But I sent her, so the piece is about my mom who passed away 3 years ago and my friend Julie who died a year and a half ago. And so it was a very intense time, and they were 2 of my favorite people. So the blue jay is actually a picture that I took. And then Sarah and I, through Facebook, she's in Ireland, I'm in Canada, found a cardinal that worked. And then Sarah digitally made it look like a painting. Like, it's crazy cool. And I am thrilled to bits with it. And then she sent me so my thought process is, how is she going to get that to me, being the old fart that I am? Like, ugh. And she put it up in a server, and I downloaded it, and boom, chakalaka done. And then I printed it. Like, how crazy is that?
I know it's back in our day,
You're younger than me. Quiet.
I, I know, but I still remember when you to get anything printed, you had to go to the print shop, the corner store print shop that was sort of sandwiched between two buildings, and
Yeah.
10 or 14 days later you'll get most of your prints, unless the whole thing died and stuff. Yeah, so now we can just, like, put things on a stick, go to a place, put it into a computer, boom, and
And
yes,
home printers are so good. I just printed
yeah,
this on my home printer, but I am
yeah,
committed because Sarah did such an amazing job and it's so personal for
yeah.
me. And she added a little treat, which I didn't anticipate. So the blue jay on the left is my mom, the cardinal on the right is Julie. And so Sarah added these really neat details of just like swirly lines and just to add some flow to it.
Hmm.
And in the swirl around my mom are my mom's initials, MB. And in the swirl around Julie are her initials, JL.
Hmm.
And that, oh, when I saw that, I was just, she was so kind and collaborative and sent me drafts, and then boom, off we go. Um, if you're, and I'm jumping into this part only because if you're listening and you're one of those people who likes to listen and look at the same time, Facebook has an incredible group. That's nice. Oh, wait till you, if he lets me, Maddie, are you going to let me share?
Yes, sure.
Okay,
Yeah.
so that's super cool. So thank you. So there is a Facebook group, and it's the Autistic Marketplace. I'm a member of it, so I have to go and find it to show you. Peculiar Badger art is Sarah Doherty, and her stuff is honestly like freaky, blow your mind, crazy good. Autistic. Let me just find it. Sorry, I should have had that up. I was not that bright. Maybe I didn't
No.
have my coffee either.
Well, while you're looking, I'll one of the things I realize about my child is why we like Disney so much is because we are so used to the term "someday your prince will come," as we are waiting for our pictures to arrive.
Oh, that was a bit of a stretch, but well
Uh,
done.
Thank you.
Made by Autistics Marketplace is the group on Facebook. So, like I said, if you're like me and you like to do a double duty, so you want to be listening and looking at the same time, I think you have to join the group, but it may take you on a little. And so Maddie has come up with an ingenious, because we have a habit of rabbit holing in a spectacular fashion. And so they went with their child to the Museum of Natural History.
Uh, uh, no,
Natural
Museum of
Museum?
Nature. It's just called the
Museum
Museum
of
of
Nature.
Nature.
Okay. And so we have a guest host today named Digit, which is a little, this is going to sound so pornographic. It's a finger rabbit. It's a
It's a
finger rabbit,
it's a
a finger
finger
puppet
puppet.
rabbit.
Yeah, it's just
Okay.
it's the hair on my finger.
Oh, cookie. Like I had to pause there because it went man, dude, cookie. I got there. So the purpose of Digit is to remind us to get back on track. So
Yes.
what we're talking about today, so we've given you some eye candy to go and take a look at, is the fact that there is this stereotype that autistic individuals are not creative, which
Hmm.
drives me crazy. Um,
Yeah, we're all a bunch of binary android robots, all into, only into sci-fi. There's just there is
Nothing
this.
wrong with sci-fi, by the way, because I'm a
Oh,
huge sci-fi
no.
fan.
Oh,
But
absolutely, yeah. Well, and think of it, like it's some of the reasons why. Okay, let's talk about that. Let's just talk about sci-fi for a reason. Why is sci-fi associated with many autistics? And now some of it is because of the science part of it, but
yeah,
others, it's the escape, it's the grandiose part of it. It's
yeah,
the,
yeah.
leaping into places that don't exist. It's the imagination. It's the creativity.
It's the
There's so,
could.
yeah,
For me, it's the
exactly.
could. Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's because many autistics, find the life that we're living in now very difficult. I mean, we want to see a world where we've gone beyond those barriers that we have now. that there is more equality, that there is more diversity, there is more
Differences are
opportunity.
embraced.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
it's not just the science, it's the fiction part of it. It's the imagination, the hope beyond today.
Okay, you just gave me an idea. And if we could run with the rabbit for just a second, because
Boing
I
boing.
never, what's that?
Boing boing.
Boing boing. I I never considered what this could do until you just said that. So this is why I'm having an aha moment. So
Okay.
I am not an original Star Trek nerd. I was not even born when that show came out. And Shatner, I love Leonard Nimoy and aspects of it. However, I am more of a Picard Star Trek fan,
Mm-hmm.
and now a Chris Pine Star Trek fan. And well, I mean, it's Chris Pine, so hubba
Yeah.
hubba. But the first Star Trek movie, although Shatner did this as well, there's the canoodling with the aliens. And what that's just struck me is that action on its own could be, breaking down a barrier, if you will, because here you have two cisgender white actors and white characters canoodling with multitudes of colors and horns and tentacles and like whatever.
Yeah.
And going into that space was kind of a brave new thing to do as well. Or am I being...
No, actually, so this Star Trek is all about breaking barriers. And it started with having the first pilot, which failed, having a female first officer, then just having females on the bridge. Because you have to understand at that point in time, in the military, in the Navy, women weren't allowed in combat at that point, right? So, so that's having Lieutenant Uhura as the communications officer, really in charge of all that stuff. Yes, she did. But the first interracial kiss on primetime happened between Kirk and Uhura, right? And so like this,
really,
So there's
how did I not know that?
Oh, you haven't been watching all the things about Nicole. Oh gosh, not having enough coffee.
It's all good.
Yeah,
We'll get there.
But like there were some huge things. Having a Russian on the bridge with Chekhov. Having having a Japanese American with Sulu having like really strong roles. Like there was so much diversity in this that it was a hope for the future. Now it was a little bit hokey because it was again filmed in the 60s, but there was so much forward thinking to it. So it was preparing the way for next generation, which just takes that diversity and that hope for the future to another generation. Yeah, I mean it was.
You're just like happy with the puns today.
Oh, it's because I haven't finished the first cup of coffee yet. There's just so many new things, first things that were showing. Even the concept of the Vulcans, right? And Spock is half Vulcan, half human, and trying to understand both parts of his history, and that really that duality is
intersectionality.
It's there's so much, and all of the shows try to in Next Generation we have the worst of the Federation's enemies, the Klingons. Well, we have Worf, who is now on Federation in the Federation as the first Klingon, and like there's this constant move towards understanding they're not perfect and that we need to better ourselves. And there's when they get too grandiose, they get checked by battle with somebody else that says, okay, we're not where we thought we are, let's just continue to try to move forward. But there's and then we get to Discovery, which oh my god, which I know is that it's a prequel as well. Then it becomes down, moves to the future.
That's where they start to lose me.
No, actually, that's where it gets better, actually, because it's doing something different. But anyways, like you have
it's that creative process that then influences the ability to influence society. Even though it's considered a fictional manner, it's using that creativity
Yeah.
to then introduce these ideas in a non-threatening way, right? So when
Yeah.
I started watching it, wouldn't have occurred to me that, a white officer kissing a blue alien, like, I'm like, good for
Yeah.
you. Like, I hope you're
Yeah.
very happy with your mildly blue babies. Um, but I think people taking those chances, Gene Roddenberry in particular, back then opened the
Yeah.
door for other forms of creativity. We were coming out of a time, right, with the Second World War and then the Korean War and then, Vietnam and what have you,
Yeah.
where
Vietnam
the
hadn't
world
happened yet. Vietnam
was
was going
getting
to happen.
there.
Yeah, it's close, but that wasn't there
It
yet.
was coming.
Yeah.
But the creativity had been opened. We did have trailblazers in Charlie
Yeah.
Chaplin and Buster Keaton and what have you. But this, like you said, as creativity continued, now we have women on the bridge. Now we have aliens and humans canoodling. Now we have, different rituals being respected, right? So that's when you move into the other, and I realize we've gone on a little bit of a Star Trek journey, but it takes me back to, I think it was the first Star Trek one with Chris Pine, where they respected the dress and the rituals of the places they were going to visit. And I think what that can do is inspire to think, other people to think, me too. Like,
Yeah.
there's a bunch of weirdos on the screen doing whatever they're doing, and that's fantastic. Why can't I be that way too? And when I say weirdo, I mean everybody. And I firmly embrace myself as a weirdo. So I don't use that as a derogatory term. My
Yeah.
kids used to get really upset when they were little if somebody called them weird. And we sat down one day and had this little heart to heart. And I said, let's be clear. I'm good with being weird. I would much rather stand out and be called weird than fit in and be vanilla for everybody else to be comfortable. Nothing wrong with vanilla. I like vanilla ice cream, but after a
Yeah.
while, you want to add some sprinkles in there. So just want to clarify, when I say weird, I in no way mean that in a derogatory way.
Yeah.
Fully love weird.
Yeah. Our family too. We embrace weird, and we find normal to be the weird. Why
Right?
would you
Like,
want to
why
be
would you want
normal?
to be? Well,
Yeah.
having said that, we're both being judgy right now. So however you exist in the world, good on you. Our point is, when people take these chances and they use creative channels to explore these topics that might otherwise antagonize or create fear in people or whatever, it is a huge opportunity to open doors for folks who may not be comfortable or encouraged to explore their own creativity. And that's why we kind of opened up with Sarah and the Made by Autistics Marketplace. And there's another artist. Have you ever heard of Remrov?
Possibly. It's not foreign to my ears, but it's not coming up. No.
Okay, so Casey Vormer, and he's written a book, is an absolutely phenomenal artist, and it's all pen and paper. Like, the stuff that this gentleman does is pretty phenomenal. So Remrov, REMROV S artwork.com. Just unbelievable what he does. And then I found an Instagram account, which we need to get some more traffic on, Autistic. It's a student-run company raising awareness of autism through the art of autistic artist Peter Myers, who I don't know who that is, but I'm going to explore. We now have the opportunity. So Gene Roddenberry had to use the medium that was available to him, which was TV.
Yep.
And then it took a number of years to transition from that medium into movies. So now we have, I wonder what you think about this, because I was going to say we went from a smaller audience to a more global audience, but when you go into movies, are you actually making your audience smaller? Because people can just flick on their TV versus.
Yeah. So I've been thinking about this. So there used to be TV or movies, and actors would or theater. Like, those are the three places where productions would be, and there was a very distinctiveness. Actors that did theater really they might do movies, but they wouldn't do TV shows. Or TV show actors, wanted to do that and then become movie actors.
Yeah.
And That's
It's
the
always
way
seen
it
as a
was.
springboard or a step back.
Okay, so this is the way it was, or
Yeah.
the way it were, as the expression goes. But with because okay, so the budget for a movie would be the same budget as a year of TV shows, or sometimes even more. Now, the thinking was that people would prefer seeing one big story, 2 to 2.5 hours, or 3 to 4 if you're particular directors, rather than seeing like every couple of years, rather than seeing a TV show, every week for 6 to 8 months. That has changed. Netflix just completely changed the game with
Yeah.
the way they do serial stories. You can now get the same production. Okay, you can get one story. Let's use Lord of the Rings right now, because this is a really good live example of this. Lord of the Rings, they took the 3 books and made it into 4 movies that were all about 3 hours each. So you have 12 hours of telling the story of a
Mm.
massive book. So much has to get left because so many side stories, so many stories that sort of explain things later get left on the cutting board, and you're left with what you can get in a 3 hour slot. Now, because of the equality between TV and movies, and the fact
Mhm.
that a movie can be done for a TV streaming company, or it could be done in the theaters. They're almost considered equal now, but the production value, the budgets are going into it, so that you can now have a season of 6 to 10 1 to 2 1 to 1.5 an hour
Yep.
shows, all done, allowing you to build more and more stories. The blur between the mediums has changed, and
Mhm.
shorter stories can actually be done through YouTube or other means. So you get the 6 10 minute episodes that now do what the 30 to 45 minute TV show used to do,
That's because
compared
you cut out the
to.
commercials.
Exactly, yeah. So
Yeah.
there's the we have more ability to express larger visions and larger creativity and larger, I think what it is people want the stories that are in print, the stories that are in books. People want to experience the fullness of those stories. All of the characters mean something to them, and
Mhm.
when they see them missing in a 2 hour movie, the expression, well, it's not as good as the book. That is usually the case when you
That's a
compare.
common refrain.
Yeah, but that's changing when you have, like, Neil Gaiman's done this right now with the Sandman. He's been trying to find for 20 years a way of having it on screen. His rich graphic novels, just there's so much richness to them, but it's never been able to be on screen. But now Netflix has a series, so
Mhm.
the series of books will match to the series on the of TV, and the ability to almost one for one do the dialogue and the visuals wasn't possible, but is possible now, and people are seeing, they're connecting. They can connect to the book and connect to whatever, however it's visually displayed, and feel, you know um immersed differently, but fully in both things. I just went on a long thing, but I've been thinking
That's
about this for
okay.
the
You
last
gave me
couple
an
of weeks.
idea. Yeah. So you
Okay.
gave me an idea, which is creativity also can be inaccessible, right? So
Yes.
if a certain so we'll use the sand. That's an excellent example. So we'll use the Sandman that for some folks would be inaccessible because my husband and my son are both dyslexic. My son is a great reader. My husband is not. So certain things are not accessible to him if they are only in print.
Uh-huh.
And so when we look at the creative process and the number of mediums that are available now, to somebody who's autistic, creating an entire movie or even an entire 40-minute TV show might seem insurmountable. But now through things like TikTok, Instagram stories,
Hmm.
YouTube, what have you, we recently put on, there's a point to this, I'm circling around a bit, but we recently put on a comedy show called the O Positive Tour. And we were fortunate to partner with Michael McCreary.
Mhm.
And there was 3 other comics that were on that tour. Adam Schwartz, Curran. I'm sorry. This is not great. Let me just find, I should have had that up. And there we go. And one of the things that we found, Pat Tiffin, sorry, Adam Schwartz, Curran Dobbs, Pat Tiffin, and then Michael McCreary. And we talked about how do we make that accessible? So the route for that was to offer a virtual experience and to offer an in-person experience. Now, for a timestamp, we are just coming out of a 2.5-year pandemic, which is still having repercussions on society as we know it. And interestingly enough, to illustrate that, we're coming back to the Sandman, I promise. We had a local politician come and visit us at the office. And it was to come, we have 2 Canada Summer students as part of our not-for-profit. She was coming to visit them. Everybody, so I'm still predominantly fist bumping and then stepping back. I'm still not into the whole, right? Every single one of us stepped in, like fist bumped or shook her hand and then took 2 steps back. Which explained why when we put on the O Positive tour and the in-person, we had a bit of a struggle getting people to come out because it was in person. It was, masks were required, which for some folks was a problem and for other folks was great. The virtual component was another way to make these gentlemen's comedy accessible because they don't allow recording of their comedy routines. Most comedians don't, unless it is specifically a Netflix special or what have you. And what we're learning since the pandemic is how to make a variety of things more accessible, including creativity, right? Sarah, the artist who created my memorial thing for my mom and my friend, without social media, would never have known she existed. Without iPad, she is self-taught and does predominantly digital art as far as I'm aware. I see though that she's also moved into some pen and ink or paint and paper. 20 years ago, I would not have been able to get that. Right? This change in the medium and this change in technology and this advancement. I mean, I have to wonder if Gene Roddenberry were around today, how many things were influenced through his creativity?
I know.
The size of cell phones are the size of phasers, and the size, and
the pad in Star Trek Next Generation is our tablet today. Like so many, like the view screen, so many of the things that we saw was the creative minds from 20, 30 years before is what we're building to the future that we saw.
Well, this is 45 years ago now that Star Trek first came out, because it was 66, wasn't it?
I'm talking, but some of these things happened. Some things came from the original show. Some things are coming from the Next Generation show.
Agreed.
And we know that our kids, the Gen Z kids today, are going to be affected by what's in Strange New Worlds and Picard and Discovery and all of this. And Star Trek Lower Decks, which is a hilarious off-color but canon show that sort of can, because it's animated, it can fill in so many of the blanks just by so there's so many Easter eggs that the bunny, the Easter bunny, comes and collects them every episode.
Well, so speaking of bunnies, you got me thinking so many. I love talking to you because your brain, and I mean that in the nicest way possible. Because I love how you not only have the insight as living as an autistic individual, but your brain goes in such cool ways that I find that process, so that creative process of doing a podcast, I learn so much from Maddy every time we chat, which is amazing. And I think when we get into that, Marshall McLuhan many, many years ago, as Canadian, said the medium is the message. And the other day I was watching American focused TV, right? So it was on American stations and whatever. And I don't watch cable very often anymore. Really, I have set shows that I go and see, and And it's not that I'm a xenophobe. It's that it's a lot. It's a lot of stupid that I don't want to waste my time on. What I found intriguing though were the commercials. And it was a lot about being litigious and a lot of medications and
Yeah.
a lot of life insurance and like all
Uh-huh.
of these getting you to question your mortality and all these other things. And a friend of mine's a physician. And I said, I wonder if that contributes to the American psyche
Uh-huh.
around certain things. And then on a broader creative scale, does the medium and the message sometimes inhibit creativity in individuals, either because, and we'll segue a little bit into autistic representation within different mediums. I know, and it makes me crackers as well,
Yeah.
because it either goes to the completely inept and unable to function in society, to the uber genius, but who still can't really function in society and has meltdowns in the operating room and whatever. Like there doesn't seem to be a happy medium.
Yeah.
Although there is that new one out that I started to watch, but I haven't quite got into yet. What's the new one?
I'm
Isn't it
not sure.
Netflix?
There's a new one coming out on Netflix that I am very I saw a uh
Love on the Spectrum?
yeah, I don't watch that.
No,
No.
what's the other one though?
Yeah, there is, and I'm just trying to,
There's
love on the spec
Atypical.
atypical. Atypical's good. I've watched a bit of it, but there's a lot of other
Mm.
representation. There's a lot of other diversity. There's a lot of other stories that
Oh, As
um
We See It. I've heard very good things about As We See It.
okay. Trying to figure
And
out.
the cool thing about it is that the individuals who are on the show, I believe, are actually autistic versus like The Good Doctor, where it's an English actor playing an American doctor who happens to be autistic. And you're like, okay,
Yeah,
how is that awesome?
yeah. I will figure out what so there's another Netflix movie coming out that I saw the trailer for it just like yesterday or the day before, so it hasn't quite gotten stuck into me. But the representation of the actor, like I
Is it
assumed
good?
by I assumed by what yes, I think so. I assumed by watching the trailer that one of the characters was autistic. Like my autistadar came off and just was strong, and
You're
then I found out.
autistic. What? What? Is that your autism radar?
Yes, of course it is. It's the
Okay,
Autistadar.
I'm just
Yeah,
checking in because I have
we
that as
got
well.
yeah, we got to jump into the Autistic car. Let's go.
Oh, autistic car?
No, Autistadar. And now I'm making a joke
Oh,
about Batman. Got to get into my Autistic car, with my Autista belt,
hey,
and
my brain is not that smart. Can we
okay.
not like
And
don't test it, man?
anyways, so I definitely felt there was neurodivergence in this character, and then I find out that yes, it's written as autistic, and yes, the
Oh,
actor is autistic, playing an
see?
autistic in this, and that's the first time I've seen in a. It's the first time I've seen in a scripted sense an autistic playing an autistic, because Love on the
Right.
Spectrum is not is well, it's what's the expression? All that stuff where you're
Like
sort of
reality?
real.
Isn't
It's
it like
that it's a reality
yeah.
show, right? So it's you're seeing what the directors want you to see, and I've heard that the seasons get better. There's so many shows out there that I'm
Yeah.
in the middle of that I just it's my queue has become so large that I actually may become a Star Trek character.
Would they have to
Okay,
call
so
you would they have
right
to call
now,
you
okay,
M or R
yeah.
or something? Because Q's
So
already taken, but
just for the people, in case you're just listening to this audioly, Elizabeth just did a slow roll of the eyes. It took about 3 seconds for the eyes to finish rolling after she clicked and got the Q joke. But it was
I got the don't even.
no, you
Don't
got it, but
even. You
no, no. But I'm not saying it took a while to get it. I'm saying you took a while to figure out: do I laugh? Do I cry? Do I what?
That's fair. What is a reasonable response to the level of punning going on right now? Okay. Well, we'll let it go.
Exactly.
So Q's a bit of a shit disturber on Picard. It's kind of funny to watch. So I just queued up, ha ha ha, autism TV shows. And
Okay.
so the ones that have come up here are Atypical. Now here's the struggle that I had with Atypical, which, love me or hate me, this is how it went. My challenge was I have now been the parent of an autistic individual for 24 years. At no point did I develop a drinking problem, cheat on my husband, or engage in other kinds of shenanigans. And
Yeah.
so as much as, and believe me when I say I am in no way trying to up the story or whatever, as much as there's misrepresentation of autistic individuals, there is also misrepresentation of the parents
Yeah.
who are in there, right? So we're
Yeah.
either these messes that are drinking to deal with their kid and cheating on their husband and whatever, or we're these mommy dearest hanger whacking nut jobs, or uber controlling. Like there just doesn't seem to be, you know what? You get in there, you get to know your kid, you get to know what works for your kid, and then you do the best you can and you keep the drinking to a minimum.
You know what?
Right?
We need to have the realistic show that would be about autistics and their families would it would be this serial of the fight with schools, like the fighting for rights and stuff like that. That's
Sweetie,
that's
that would
the
be a
story.
reality show and a half. Like the interview that you just did. Who was on the interview with you? Raven.
Are you talking about
The one you just did.
We Are One on MIT? Yeah. Well, actually, all of my children were on that with me.
But see, that I believe it did show. I mean, it was a bit of a rosy, right? Because it was playing a board game and ha ha ha. And we all know that that's not reality, because trust me, folks, right? I do not live in autistic shoes. So I claim no lived experience for how an autistic individual functions in the world. I barely understand myself, never mind trying to grapple with how my son functions or whatever. I do the best I can. So an accurate I mean, that might be kind of frightening.
Well, I mean, there's the good days, the bad days, and the days in between.
And then there's life.
What we tend to see is the really good day or the really bad day. And those are the representations we see of anybody with disabilities. And it's not just autism, it's any disability. If it's the good day, it really can run the risk of being inspiration porn. And it's all about the people around them, and like, look at amazing this. They're able to do this thing. Wow, we gold stars and everything. And it's not to inspire autistics, it's to inspire the people around them. We can do it. With their help, they did this. And that makes me mental. It doesn't move us forward, really. And then there's the focusing on the negatives, the bad stories, our difficulties, our challenges, and usually those things that they're picking up on are things that are coexisting with other things. It's not the autism, and it's like it just drives us crazy. And or
300
then we
days.
have
Here's the thing then. 300 days out of the year, maybe 330.
Yeah.
It's mundane.
Yeah.
Putting pants on, taking a crap before we do that, heading out the door to do what we got to do.
Yeah.
There's 35 days in the year where stuff goes sideways. And you have the amazing accomplishments. For an example, timestamp, my son is doing his last day at Mohawk College for his welding and fabrication program. This is his last day of in-class welding. And why this is significant is Thomas has done this with no accommodations, no real interference from me. I had to get in there on one thing, but other than that, he has managed this entire year on his own with no academic accommodations, He has not disclosed, as far as we disclosed to one person. And that's been it. And not that he shouldn't have or couldn't have or whatever. He chose not to.
Mm-hmm.
And when we look at those 300 days of mundane, most of his time at Mohawk has been the 300 days of mundane. There have been probably 15 days of, oh,
yeah.
He made a significant choice today that he shared with me that I found really important, which is when he first began at Mohawk in this particular course, he mucked up a test. And this last day was an opportunity to do a redo. And he took the initiative to do that because he wanted to do better, which I'm so proud of him for that. Because a lot of folks just would have said, you know what, last day, I'm done. I've passed, good to go. And so he's part of my inspiration for wanting to talk about creativity in the autism community, because from a very young age, Thomas was extremely creative. He used to memorize movies. He would do the dance, the song, the whatever. He loved building stuff, drawing stuff. You give him a box of Lego and a picture and he's done. You give him a box of Connects and a picture and he's done. And then he will riff off of that and do whatever. He draws beautifully. And here's when you were mentioning before about schools and advocating. Okay, so here's here's a funny. So when he was 9, he got some autistic individuals can be very tactile, and Play-Doh in particular and plasticine, because it's smooth and it's easy and whatever, right? Enjoyable. He happens to be one of those individuals. Add his layer of creativity on it. I mean, the stuff he's made is phenomenal. So we go into the developmental pediatrician and she's watching how he grips a pencil. And this ties into stereotypes and misconceptions and whatever.
Yeah.
And so this is a kid who draws, does clay, does fine clay work, does whatever.
Yeah.
But because he can't grip a pencil the way they think he should, and because his writing is a little bit messy, he also is dyslexic. So, add that little layer. Yeah. They diagnose him with a fine motor visual integration issue. Okay. This is an individual who built to scale a toy store with toys. This is all through plasticine and popsicle sticks and however and it looked really good. So he built T-Rexes the size of my thumb. He built ninjas, jointed ninjas out of staples and plasticine that you could move and pose, and they were to scale perfect. And I'm not the mom that is the rose-colored glasses. Not, Maddie's got rose-colored glasses, but that's nothing. If it sucked, I wouldn't tell you about it. I'm not that nice a mom in that capacity. I'd be like, that's trash. You shouldn't bother. But they were phenomenal. And I'm like, so, riddle me this. How does his ability to hold a pencil in any way indicate his ability to be creative or his ability to produce or his ability, whatever. Yeah. And that's what she was saying. Well, he's not going to be able to do this. And I'm like, would you like to see the pictures of all the, I got my phone out and I'm like, are you crazy?
Yeah. The prognostication that many people involved in diagnosing or supporting autistics of what they may or may not be able to do in the future, I think is one of the reasons why many parents immediately go gray or lose hair. Because
are you poking at my hair color?
No. I can make a comment about Lisa Liflam losing it. Anyways, it's very upsetting.
Oh, another story.
So the prognostication of what, based on a few tests of what people should be like, what little white boy should be like, it flies in the face of every other part of the autistics. It's one of the reasons why I hate labeling, because when you see an autistic, you're seeing them in one moment. You're seeing you're either seeing the biggest strength they have, or the biggest challenge they have,
Yeah.
and you're missing everything else,
The other
right?
300 days.
Exactly. You're missing the other, if we think of, there's around 9 areas of 9 domains of functioning that we have. You're seeing us not being able to, you're seeing us speak, in front of an audience, but you're not seeing all of the work it took to get there, and all the assistance and people you needed to help,
And the
all of the
recovery
days.
after.
I was about to say, and all of the days after and before that you've needed to rest and sleep and just put your, cover your eyes, and like there's what you're seeing is the tip of the iceberg, and everything else, whether you're in your biggest challenge, you're seeing a meltdown in public, and you're seeing police all around because police just say, think the worst. They don't know how
They're
to
not
handle.
trained.
They're not trained to look for neurodivergence first, right? And
Yeah.
looking for mental health issues first. They're seeing an issue, they need to contain it. So you're seeing one picture, one
Does
frame of a
that,
movie. You're seeing one
sorry,
frame of a movie.
sorry, you got me thinking again, and I promise it supports. If you
Yeah,
could
no
just stop
problem.
me making me think, that would be great. Does that on its But does that on its own? I'm so glad you said that. Every time I get aha moments with you, I'm looking up, because what I'm doing right now is I'm visualizing the last in-person Autism Alliance of Canada conference I was
Mhm.
at, and the panel up there.
Mhm.
And my thought process at the time was, look how amazing they're doing. I have
Mhm.
I have hope for my son now, and da 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 da
Yeah,
da. Da.
yeah.
But Maddie, I did not consider, for one individual, it was obvious that yes,
Mhm.
getting up there was a big deal,
Yeah.
and getting down was going to take a few days. But for the rest, I was like, well, obviously it's manageable. Obviously. And I didn't
Yeah.
even stop to think about the hotel room after they were
Mhm.
done, and the couple of hours. And I need to do that.
Yeah.
If I'm running a conference all day,
Yeah, you need to decompress.
I think we've talked about it
Yeah.
before. And up above me is the one of the Spark the Change things that we did. The rest of the team would be like, let's go to the bar and have a whiskey and whatever. And I'd be like, hasta luego. I'll see you in an hour, because
Yeah.
I've had to deal with all of your energy and all of your talking and all of your everything.
Yeah.
I am actually an introvert by nature, which most people are like, what now?
Same here. I don't appear that way.
Yeah. But I speaking in
Yeah.
front of 200 people is much less draining for me than speaking in front of one.
Wow. Okay. I think, yeah, I
Long but
used,
true.
yeah, I'm that way now too. I mean, I actually, I, so the difference between an introvert and an extrovert really is, where do you get your strength from?
Yep.
Where do you get recharged from? And, and it's a strange thing, because a lot of people see, people really out there and bubbly and whatnot, and they're surprised to find out that they're introverts. But,
Mhm.
for me, I get my strength, I get recharged by being by myself, by being in
Yep.
nature, by, turning all the lights on, going under the covers, and having some time to myself. And, I
Sorry.
prefer to be around one really close person, or three or four or five, people that I'm somewhat close to. But you go beyond that, in between the 5 and the 200. Oh my gosh, that's where it's hard for me. If we're the first people in a restaurant and we're just having our lunch, I can handle the discussion and the hum of 5 people. But as more people come in, you get the 10, the 20, the 30. The sheer noise level is part
Yeah.
of it.
Yeah.
And I think that noise level, that sensory overload, it gets to a point where I can handle it, and then there's a wall, and I can't. I have to leave.
Yeah.
I have to get
I,
out. I
I
have to
like that.
bring it. Yeah.
Yeah. Like between my really good hearing and my ADHD, the challenge for me is that and I've discovered this with chatting with a neighbor of mine, that what was I doing? I went to vacuum the car or something. I said, oh, sorry. Like because to me, that would be disturbing, because
Uh-huh.
I hear it way better and I never put that together, that what I'm doing isn't disturbing the neighbors nearly as much as what they're doing is disturbing me. Because they literally don't hear. We have a neighbor who seems to be some kind of umbilical cord symbiotic relationship with their leaf blower. And I just want to smash it to pieces because it is at a pitch where, for my hearing,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah,
makes me banana pants, right? Whereas
yeah,
everybody else is just like, yeah, it's annoying. It's a little mosquito. And I'm like, no, it is a mosquito the size of a B-52 drilling into my house is
yeah.
how big it is.
It's a
And
mosquito that's latched on, and it's not. It's just sucking the lifeblood
sucking
out
me
of you.
dry. Yeah. So, but I wonder now, when we look at the individuals like Remrov, like Sarah Doherty, like the Autistics Marketplace and whatever, and I try not to
Yeah,
engage too much in the commentary section
yeah,
because I'm neurotypical and because I don't want anybody to ever, like, I'm not trying to intervene. It's I would love, and I'm still hoping to go to an Indigenous powwow because I have the utmost respect for that culture and for those traditions, and the fact that over thousands of years, they are still celebrating in such incredibly creative and beautiful ways. And it's not that I want to interfere or,
yeah,
bring the white to the party. It's that I just have so much respect for what they do and their level of creativity. Like, we went to an Indigenous Christmas market. It was in the pandemic, and the workmanship, there was this one lady that was there who does
yeah,
fine bead workmanship. Phenomenal. And I mean, if I'd had more money, I'm telling you, I would have cleaned out her damn table. It was fantastic. And I, this is where being neurotypical and trying to engage in a respectful, supportive manner without being, what's the word I'm looking for? Help me out here.
culturally appropriated. No,
Well,
something like
no.
that.
um, Condescending. I don't know.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, tokenizing.
tokenism, any of that.
Yeah,
Like, I truly, not by choice. That's the other piece of this, is that as an autistic parent or the parent of an autistic individual,
uh,
I would not have stepped into the world because I didn't have any need to. Had somebody come to me and said, we need help with XYZ, I will always volunteer. I will always help out, but I wouldn't have the same emotional driver that I do
yeah,
to be fiercely protective of creative. Because I've seen what happens with my son. My son uses his creativity
uh,
for stress release. And we
yeah,
tried, he did a year at Sheridan College and successfully completed a year in visual and creative arts. But I watched the drain that that process had on him and the impact
yeah,
on his creativity. And that's
yeah,
why we sat down and said, okay, it's not that I don't think you can somehow make a living being creative. It's going to be highly stressful. It's a highly competitive market. And I think what's going to happen is that's going to kill your love of what you do. He loves to make
yeah,
little movies, the little stop animation movies,
yep,
and the drawing and everything else that he does. I said, I would much rather keep that for you as a sacred thing that you use to express yourself and use for stress release than turn it into an entrepreneurial
yeah,
endeavor, which is why he's moved into welding. Sorry, I
yeah,
promise I'm going to wrap it up in a second.
yeah,
Where he was not able to extrapolate that there were creative opportunities within welding until I sat down with him and said, hang on a minute. If you get your welding certificate, one, that's something that nobody can take away from you. And trust me when I say, after doing a 1-year project on connecting autism and advanced manufacturing, I'm here to tell you, you are in demand.
mhm,
You can then use that if you want to move into building armature for movies and movie characters and movie sets and playgrounds and really funky creative stuff and whatever. Like, there are ways to turn that into a creative side hustle
yeah,
where you have a living wage, as we've talked before about the dependency on disability and how
yeah,
terrible their whole system is screwed. And now he gets it. And I wonder, Maddy, is it that the conversation isn't happening as much as it could within the autism community about how to express your creativity and removing those barriers and
Yeah.
understanding that a
Okay.
2-minute video is still creative.
So here's the thing, and our society right now, and the leadership in it especially, looks
Doug
at
Ford.
people's looks yeah, looks at
Doug Ford.
people's value in what they can contribute to society. The economic, you're only valued by your economic value. And
Yeah.
so our whole school
Economic
system is,
contribution.
yeah, our whole school system is being, shifted and warped and contorted to only, you know, yeah, the math, the science, the STEM, the engineering, and the manufacturing, and like there's this push to have people be able to fill these roles, and then there's the expectation that autistics are the perfect ones to sort of push through that, and if they can't, if they can't do that, then we need to help them. We need to either pull them out of that and have them do nothing, or we need to sort of fix them so that they can fit this funnel.
Yeah.
And so where does creativity and arts fit in this mindset? It's not prioritized. The funding for that is cut. We're not, you don't encourage autistics. Like all of the social groups and things like that are, you know they're not designed to help you with the creative. They're designed to help you, go back into this funnel path, so that you can, behave properly and learn things, and then be part of this
So ours does
work
not do
world.
that. Just FYI, Socially ASD, which is our not-for-profit around
Yeah,
social needs,
yeah,
does not do that.
yeah,
We are
yeah,
specific around it being
yeah.
autistic led and driven, so we do it right.
But autistics. Okay, so newsflash: autistics are the best actors because we know how to mask.
A
You
lot
know,
do.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
and
there's a
shouldn't
lot
have
of
to.
a lot of autistics are drawn to arts, are drawn to acting because they can be another person and not be themselves, and
And get
throwing
paid
the,
for it.
yeah, and throwing them like my I have a daughter who loves improv, and she's the funniest. Like she's got the most comedic timing, and she got out of her shell. Like she's this quiet little kid, little, she's a cat, but she's like a mouse. And like, where's Catherine? I'm right here, Dad. Um, like she's, I don't know how many times we said that. Where's Cat? Where's Cat? I'm right here, Dad.
Yeah.
Yeah, but she's when she has something to say, it's profound and it's well thought through and it's amazing.
Yeah.
But she doesn't know necessarily how to jump into a conversation. She's getting better at it now as she gets older, but when she got to doing improv, she saw, for her 5th birthday, we took her for to see a play, and it was Little Mermaid Junior, and she came out of that and she said, "Dad, I
Yeah.
have to do this." So she got the acting bug.
Aw.
Yeah, yeah, she got the acting bug, and so she wanted to go to there's a drama weekly program that we put her into, and
Yeah.
when she got to be like 10 or 11, she turned into improv, which she really really loved doing. And
We got
because she
5 minutes. So
because she was able to come out of her shell in these times, some of that coming out of her shell, it
rubbed off.
continues to happen. And I mean,
Yeah.
I have the deepest conversations with this child, but she likes to be able to be another character. I have another, one of my other kids, like all 3 of my kids are hugely into acting. They
Yeah.
love the drama. They love the drama. They live the drama, so they love the drama. They have the opportunity to be something else. I mean, I'm the same thing. Like right now, I do a lot of voices, as you
Yes, I
may
know.
or may not have heard, and I love the time where I can just think of another persona and take it and run with it, and
Yeah.
then come back. And I think a lot of autistics, that when they're given the opportunity to stretch, to whether it's doing performing arts, or whether it's doing visual arts, like there's so many autistics who have, because we see the world differently. Our art is different. Our
Yeah.
art is
Yes.
very different, because the whole way we see the world is a completely different view.
Nothing's off
And
limits,
yeah,
which I
so
love.
it's you know I find that the problem we have is when society, when clinicians are trying to constrain us, some of us, into this area, that
Yeah.
all of the creative stuff gets shoved off too. And I think when autistics aren't allowed to perform, aren't allowed to create, you get a lot of, in quotes, in bunny ears, behaviors, because we can't, that part of ourselves gets locked. When
We
I
need to express it somehow.
yeah, I know in times in my life where I've been told I can't do some of the creative things that I'm doing, I feel lost. I
Yep.
feel I only get depressed when the avenues I have to creativity get shut off. And because a lot of the things that have happened in my life, like I used to be able to do web design, graphics, and coding. I used to be able to code for hours and hours and hours and hours. And when I got really sick and I wasn't able to do that,
Yep.
I felt part of me was lost. But the creative part of me, I started being able to do graphic design. I started being able to visualize things. The creativity side of me came in and compensated for the fact that tech part of me
Physically was a
got
problem.
lost.
Yeah.
Yeah. And when that creativity part of me is constrained now, it's like I'm suffocated. And I think all of my kids feel the same way.
Well, so we have to, you're giving me more ideas. Damn you.
Woohoo.
I put my son into a theater and creative arts. This was when he was much younger and we had less awareness of his ADHD and some other things. But Thomas is a born performer. I totally forgot about that, Maddie, until you said that. Not like when he was 2, Miss Mary, who was my children's nursery school teacher, and she also recently passed away, looked at me and she said, he's going to be the next Jim Carrey because he's a very physical, loves to make people laugh. And we are missing that for him right now.
Yeah.
And I am fortunate to be connected in a way to somebody who can get him into improv, and he would do amazing in that. He
Yeah.
is a he's a tall, good looking guy, right? So he's like 6 foot tall, red hair.
Yeah.
He's unique looking in that capacity as well, but he's very expressive in his face, like he's rubber faced, like Jim Carrey is.
Yep.
And we have been missing that. You are a freaking genius. Like
Or
Wiley
Muse.
Coyote.
Or Muse.
You're like Xanadu. You're my Xanadu. Can I call you
Xanadu.
Xanadu?
Oh, I love Xanadu. Oh my God. I have such a connection to that movie that I saw like 1 or 2 times. And oh yeah.
I just got
I
goosebumps. I
nobody ever
literally, you can't
I've
see
never heard
them,
anybody
but I
say
have
Xanadu, but
goosebumps. Oh, there's a thing.
yeah,
Okay, we got to wrap
yeah.
up because
So
I got to go.
one thing I want you to do
Yes.
when your son gets his diploma, I want you to go to him and say, "Congratulations, well done."
How about I get you to record that and I will play it for him and he
Okay,
will be thrilled to bits and pieces.
all
But
right,
I will. He still has a couple of more courses. We had some
okay,
FUBAR with his registration, but I am proud of him and I see what he's doing. He's already got job offers on the table. He's had a rough employment journey and, but I don't worry about it because I know in the big picture, he will get there.
yeah,
And I know we can do that creative process, but honestly, I'm going to connect him to an improv group.
yeah,
That's because he needs that. And we are actually, as part of Socially ASD, Social Con, by the way, is moving forward a little bit. So we need to have another meeting about that. But improv was part of that, running some online improv classes through Social Con and introducing things that may not be stereotypically introduced creatively to the autism community, because there's all these presumptions that there won't be interest, which, by the way, folks, is big balls of bullshit, because you should never, ever, ever assume that everybody within the autism community won't be interested. That is, I'm going
yeah.
to
Oh
use
my God,
all
yeah,
kinds of animal excrement things right now because just horseshit. So nothing's off the table creatively for the autism community is our point.
Mhm.
If we circle back to Gene Roddenberry to wrap up, if Gene Roddenberry hadn't taken the chance to express himself creatively, we wouldn't have not only the franchise that we have, but all of the innovations that have come out of that. Live long and prosper to you, my friend. And that is a huge loss. And when we make assumptions that the autism community doesn't have things to offer creatively,
Mhm.
or that it has to be a big thing in order to be meaningful,
Yeah.
we are doing everybody a disservice.
Mhm.
So our point today was not only to explore Star Trek, which we could do endlessly, but the fact that innovation has to begin somewhere, innovation in
Yeah.
creativity,
Mhm.
and it can begin with you. And there
Yeah.
are safe places to do that, like the Made by Autistics group on Facebook and other channels. Go looking for it. Go have a look at Remrov. Go have a look at what is hers called again? There's also like James Durbin is a successful singer who's
Mhm.
I think he's autistic and Tourette's.
Yeah.
Um,
There's Spectrum Productions in Montreal that just
yep,
does productions with autistic. So the
yep,
creativity, the behind the scenes stuff, it marries the tech and the creative.
yep.
And
There's the O
the
Positive tour that
yeah,
we have helped put on. I want to provide a whole bunch of
yeah,
stuff before we wrap up, but go check out James Durbin. Go check out the Made by, oh, what do we got going on here? People are messaging me. Peculiar Badger Art, um, Remrov's portfolio, the Artistic Autistics. Like,
yeah,
if you go and check them out and support them and follow them and engage, then we get
yeah,
more of it out there, and
yeah,
it becomes that snowball of wonderfulness that creates iPads
yeah,
from tablets that somebody imagined in the 1980s as part of a Star Trek franchise. Like, who knows what can come out of that?
yeah,
And if you are, as Maddy pointed out at the very beginning, one of those individuals who's in a supportive role, there are some habits my son has that I'm not a huge fan of, but anything to do with art, I will get him whatever he wants anytime.
yeah.
He has
The-
more art books and plasticine and like whatever medium he's working in at that moment. And I'll support that 100%, whatever he does with it. And he comes down sometimes. I'm going to have to get some pictures of his art
yeah,
and share, because it keeps his brain active. It keeps his hands active. It keeps
yeah,
him out of his head. It keeps
yeah.
him
Let
creative.
let kids doodle. Let them do whatever they're not paying attention. One of the I taught at Sunday school to grade 6 and 7 kids. There was this one kid that didn't look like she was paying attention at all. She was just doodling
Yeah.
her thing. And at one point, I asked a question and nobody got it, and she just piped up. And I
Yeah.
realized at that moment she was fully connecting, but she was doing it in a different way.
Well,
And that's
doodling is
important.
processing, right?
Exactly.
It's a
Yeah.
distractive processing that allows your
Yeah.
brain. I sometimes
Yeah.
Paulette's a great doodler. Um,
So
I don't have
yeah.
any problem with doodling pen and paper. I have a problem when people use their phone as a distraction, because I
Yeah.
know that can become a wormhole that I don't want people going down. But so we're going to wrap up,
Yeah.
and our point being that creativity can come in a number of ways, whether it's drawing, whether it's poetry, whether it's graphic design, whether it's clay work, whether it's, writing small skits, whether there's so many different ways, folks. Please
Yeah.
don't ever think that something's off limits to you,
Yeah.
because community has created stereotypes around a lack of creativity in the autism community, or a lack of imagination is one of those bullshit
Yeah.
things that came out when my son was small. That's crap.
Yeah.
And if you believe it, then you're believing somebody else's crap. If you want to draw, it doesn't
Yeah.
matter if it's stick figures with stickers. If that makes you happy, that's being creative. Rock on. Rock the shit out of those stick figures if that's what makes you happy. We know people that paint rocks. We have somebody on our board for Socially ASD who makes handbags. We have another person who is a chef and is a great baker. There's all
Uh-huh.
kinds of different ways to express your
Yeah.
creativity. Explore, try it. If you fail, who gives a shit? It's a piece of paper and a pencil, or it's one batch of cookies.
Yeah.
It's one time.
Yep.
It's one time. And then try again. Because I got to tell you, Monet and Van Gogh and Julia Child and James, what's his Dewey from Avatar?
Cameron.
Thank you. Never got it right the first time. Gene
Yeah.
Roddenberry probably had 6 million ideas that he never did shit
Yeah.
with. And now here we are,
Edison with
40
the
years
light bulb.
after his death, still talking about him and his franchise
Yeah.
and what he created. So
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
get
There's
passionate
infinite. There's
because
infinite diversity. There's infinite diversity in infinite combinations. And that's from Star Trek as well. That's the
That's
Vulcan
some
motto.
wise words,
I
man.
know.
Okay.
Autistics can do anything.
Yes.
It's the possibilities. There should be no barriers as to what's possible.
Yeah.
The path to get there is the job of every ally, every caregiver, is to break away the things that are stopping us from being able to move on. But
100%
we
agree.
can't. There should be no limits to the possibilities of what any one of us can do.
Yeah.
It's
And
the
it doesn't
path
have
that
to be
matters.
huge, because
Yeah.
that can sound like it needs to be huge.
No,
And I
it's
totally support what Maddy's saying, but that can sound like it needs to be huge, and it doesn't need to be
Yeah.
huge. If you get out, if you have been hesitating to try drawing and you happen to have some blank paper and a pencil, and today you try drawing a flower, good for you. That's a huge creative step.
Yeah.
If today you go out and take pictures using your phone or whatever, that's creative. That's a huge step.
Yeah.
The next step is share it with someone.
Yeah.
The next step is share it with more people. The next step is start talking about it and building a tribe that supports you. And the tribes exist. You got to go find them, and you got to make the effort to join them. And even if you're a lurker for a while, that is totally fine. Even if you join and you don't comment, but you just go for inspiration, that's still being creative. And that's amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, now I actually have to go because I'm going to be late for another thing.
And we thank you very much for joining today. Like, subscribe, join.
What's the thingy?
Follow.
What's the Spocky thingy that he says you will always be my
live long and prosper? Okay. You'll always be.
You know what?
Right. Yeah. At the end, when Star Trek 2, when he dies. Oh my gosh.
You have always been and will always be my friend. What does it say?
Yeah. You have always been.
I have been and always shall be your friend.
Yeah, exactly.
There you go. The fact that I can do that's kind of cool.
I know. And if we do this, it's a whole other thing.
That's a whole nother level of creative.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us, everybody. If you have artists that are autistic that you want to profile, please drop them wherever you're listening to this, because the more we share, the more we get the word out.
Yeah.
If there are people that you think would be a good idea for us to chat with, hey, like, we're not short of words. We're good. Happy to have guests come on and talk about their creative endeavors and what they're up to. And that would be amazing. And if you start drawing today, or you start cooking today, or you start taking pictures today, or you start doing Highland fling, I don't care. Play a bagpipe, whatever floats your boat. Or as my daughter says, whatever floobs your boobs. I think that's amazing. I'm a cake decorator. I'm a gardener. I'm a photographer. I'm a reader. I'm a writer. And I do all of those on the 300 days of the year that I'm not trying to kill my kid or somebody else for trying to get in his way. So you got a lot of days. Take advantage of them.
Yep. It's been fun.
Thank you so much, everybody. And we'll talk to you soon. Nanu, nanu.
Nanu, nanu. Nanu, nanu.
Nanu, nanu. Bye. Thank you for joining us on Across the Desk and our new series, The Autistic Rambler. Please visit spirocareerscanada.ca to learn more about the tools we're building with the autism community, and please visit theautisticrambler.com to learn more about Maddy Dever.